Love this game. This is what I live for. You know, this is every fighter's dream when they turn professional to live this life. You know, there was no more pressure than a 19-year-old kid with no amateur experience walking out to a packed O2 arena. That's pressure. You know, I've been doing this for 10 years and you know, I'm more than prepared, more than ready. You know, I wish it was Saturday night tonight. You know, I'm not going to lie myself to Chris and go back and forth and, you know, all that PR's done. I'm excited to get in there and put my hands on him Saturday night. Irrelevant of all the rubbish he wants to talk and you know, names and...
As fight night approaches, the tension between Conor Benn and Chris Eubank Jr. has reached a boiling point. What started as a fierce rivalry has exploded into full-blown psychological warfare, from accusations of hiding to suspicious glove approval to deep personal wounds exposed in public. This buildup isn't just about skill anymore. It's about pride, survival, and legacy. Today, we break down the raw emotions and brutal exchanges leading up to one of the most emotionally charged fights British boxing has seen in years. Conor Benn sets the stage by explaining that there's no pressure on him heading into fight. He's envisioned the bout over 100 times in his mind, mentally preparing long before the bell even rings. He talks about isolating himself from comfort training far from home to fully dial in. This shows a man who is obsessively committed to his craft. For Benn, this isn't just another payday, this is war. Prepared for in solitude and obsession, his detachment from distractions paints him as fully locked in, mentally sharper, and emotionally fueled to face one of the most important battles of his career.
No pressure. You know, I live for this. I've had the fight over 100 times in my head. You know, for me, it's just focusing on the training, you know, removing myself from my comfort zones, my familiarities, my family, and, you know, fully dialing in.
Benn makes it clear he's done playing media games. With Eubank Jr., the time for back-and-forth PR stunts is over. Now it's about getting physical. Benn's disdain for the pre-fight chatter is palpable. He's not interested in insults or mind games anymore. He emphasizes that come fight night, the only thing that matters is action. His words reflect a controlled fury, a simmering anger that's being saved for the ring. Benn is ready to let his fists do the talking, and his focus on violence over words adds a chilling sense of finality to this rivalry.
You know, I'm not going to lie myself to Chris and go back and forth and, you know, all that PR's done. I'm excited to get in there and put my hands on him Saturday night. Irrelevant of all the rubbish he wants to talk and you know, names and...
Eubank Jr. fires back by accusing Benn of fleeing the UK to avoid public scrutiny over his failed drug tests. He mocks Benn's absence and suggests that Benn is using him to regain public sympathy. Eubank frames himself as a fighter who stayed, face the fans, and absorbed the pressure. It's a strategic move painting Benn as a coward who abandoned the battlefield while he remained stoic. This public narrative attempt adds another layer to their fight. It's not just about punches, but about who stood tall when the spotlight turned brutal.
He knew that he couldn't handle the pressure of, you know, walking these UK streets and having people shouting out drug cheat and egg jokes. He didn't want to be involved in any of that. So he took himself away, he hid away, and, you know, now he's back, and now he thinks he can use me to kind of get back into the good graces.
Doubling down, Eubank insists that Benn is already crumbling under the pressure. He claims Benn can't handle the heat of the moment, predicting that the real emotional breakdown will come on fight night. It's classic mental warfare. Eubank is planting seeds of doubt, trying to position himself as a calm, composed veteran while casting Benn as fragile and emotionally volatile. Whether it's true or not, this relentless narrative aims to unnerve Benn before he even steps between the ropes, a tactic as old as boxing itself, but one that can be brutally effective.
I don't think Conor can say the same thing. I think he's feeling the pressure and the heat. I think he's feeling that, and he's going to feel a hell of a lot more in a couple of days' time.
Eubank Jr. continues to build his case by pointing out that while Benn was in Spain avoiding media and fans, he stayed visible. He boasts about doing gym tours, speaking to youth groups, and embracing the public's reaction, good and bad. In doing so, he tries to paint himself as the people's fighter, resilient and accessible. This PR move is powerful because it weaponizes public perception against Benn. It's not just a battle in the ring, it's a war for the hearts of fans. And Eubank is playing it smart by standing tall amidst controversy.
You know, I haven't fled. I haven't hid away from anything. I've been in these streets. I've been to gyms all over London over the last 2 months. I've been and spoke to kids. I've done all the media obligations I've needed to do around the country. I've felt the energy on the streets of the UK over these last 2 months, and it's real. People are invested in this. Everywhere I go, people are screaming, and most of the time it's positive, which it's a new thing for me. I'm still getting used to that, but I am happy with the place I am at mentally.
In a powerful declaration, Conor Benn reminds everyone that pressure is nothing new to him. He recounts walking into packed arenas as a 19-year-old kid with minimal experience. For him, pressure isn't a threat, it's a homecoming. His 10 years of professional dedication have hardened him. His readiness isn't bravado, it's lived experience. This resilience under pressure counters Eubank's narrative, painting Benn as a fighter forged in chaos, not one crumbling under it. It's clear, Benn isn't just defending his reputation, he's proving he's built for nights like these.
Love this game, this is what I live for. This is every fighter's dream when they turn professional to live this life. There was no more pressure than a 19-year-old kid with no amateur experience walking out to a packed O2 arena. That's pressure. I've been doing this for 10 years and I'm more than prepared, more than ready. I wish it was Saturday night tonight.
Eubank again questions Benn's decision to train abroad, twisting into a narrative of fear and avoidance. He paints Benn's move to Spain not as strategic, but as cowardice and inability to face his demons in public. Whether fair or not, the psychological play attempts to erode Benn's mental armor. It also shows how personal this rivalry has become. This isn't about business, it's about pride. Every move, every decision is scrutinized and weaponized. Eubank's words aim to chip away at Benn's public image, as well as his confidence.
Conor speaks about pressure and dealing with it, but there's a reason why he had his training camp in Spain. The kid had to flee his own country to prepare for this fight. He knew that he couldn't handle the pressure of walking these UK streets and having people shouting out drug cheat and egg joke.
Things take a darker turn as Eubank discusses pain not just physical, but emotional. He reveals personal tragedies, including the death of his brother and his estrangement from his father. This raw vulnerability is rare for Eubank. He uses these experiences to put the pain of weight cuts and rehydration clauses into perspective. To him, boxing sacrifices are nothing compared to real loss. It's a heavy, emotional blow in this build-up, reminding everyone that the men who step into that ring carry scars far deeper than any bruise or broken bone.
Weight. What's weight? Weight is, everyone always talking about this weight thing. The weight is painful.
Yeah, good.
I'm in pain right now. I'll be in even more pain tonight and tomorrow morning.
And the worst pain you've ever experienced comes Saturday night, I promise you that right now.
The question I ask myself is, what is pain?
Oh, shut up.
Continuing on the theme of hardship, Eubank speaks about his broken relationship with his father, Chris Eubank Sr., a legend in his own right. He confesses how devastating it is to have his childhood hero turn away from him. This adds heartbreaking depth to the story. For Eubank Jr., the ring isn't just about fighting Benn, it's about fighting for self-worth, redemption, and pride in the eyes of father he feels he's lost. It turns this rivalry into something far bigger than titles or fame. It's about identity.
Oh, I'm serious. What is it?
Oh, shut up.
What is it? I have a 31-year-old brother. He's buried in the desert in Dubai. That's pain. I have his son Raheem, 3 years old. He asks, why can't I see my daddy? Why doesn't he take me to school? That's pain. Eubank ends a psychological assault by stating that he's no longer taking Benn lightly. He claims that Benn squandered his chance in their first potential fight when Eubank underestimated him. Now, he fights with a different purpose, a duty to the sport and to fans who, according to him, were misled by Benn's controversies. This quote encapsulates Eubank's transformation from entertainer to executioner. He's no longer clowning for cameras. He's coming for blood, not clout. And in this version of Eubank, Conor Benn faces a much colder, more dangerous opponent. My own father, a man I idolized for my entire life, and he doesn't speak to me. We haven't spoken for years, and he thinks I'm a disgrace. You know, these things are what pain is to me. And if I can deal with all of these trials and tribulations, then the weight cut and the rehydration clause, these are all things that are not an issue.
Conor Benn reveals just how much this fight means to him personally. He admits he's an emotional fighter, someone who wears his heart on his sleeve every time he steps into the ring. For Benn, this isn't a strategic rivalry, it's deeply personal. He isn't just fighting another man, he's fighting a Eubank, and history matters, pride matters. He vows he won't lose to a man bearing that name, especially not this version of Eubank Jr. This kind of emotional fire can either be a huge advantage or a dangerous weight. Regardless, it makes clear, for Benn, this battle is a matter of honor, not just points.
To this man, Chris Eubank.
Yeah, listen, it's always personal. I'm a very emotional fighter. You know, I fight with my heart on my sleeve, and it's the way I've been my whole career. It's the only way I know. So for me, you know, he is another man. Yes, his name is Eubank, and I won't be losing to a fighter whose name's Eubank, especially not this man.
Eubank strikes back with a reminder of boxing's ultimate truth. Once the bell rings, belief means nothing, only performance matters. He respects the emotional investment, but warns that no game plan or training camp can fully prepare anyone for what happens when fists start flying. It's a cold, almost philosophical observation about the brutality of boxing. Eubank is banking on the chaos, the unpredictability, and the furnace of real-time combat to expose any cracks in Benn's armor. This quote shows a composed, hard mentality one that's ready to drag Benn into deep waters and find out who truly drowns.
That's the beautiful thing about this sport. That doesn't matter what you believe. All that matters is what actually happens once that bell goes, and nobody knows what's going to happen until it happens. What I do know is whatever strategy, whatever game plan these people have come up with, nothing will prepare them for the fire that they're going to receive in a couple of days' time.
Eubank continues by saying he can beat Conor Benn any way he wants. He dismisses traditional measurements like strength, speed, and weight, emphasizing that the real difference between them lies in dedication, sacrifice, and authenticity. In Eubank's view, he's a real fighter, the one who suffered, endured, and stayed clean. This quote plays heavily into the narrative he's been building all camp, that Benn's shortcuts, controversies, and emotional volatility can't match a life built on true struggle. It's a statement loaded with pride, disdain, and a belief that boxing is about character, not just athleticism.
How do I beat Conor Benn? Any way I want to. You know, it's not about strength and speed and age and weight, all the things that you guys love to talk about. It's about dedication. It's about paying, who's paid their dues and who's done it clean, who's dedicated their life, who's real and who's fake.
Conor Benn's father steps in and adds gasoline to the fire. He passionately defends his son's stamina, power, and grit, boldly claiming Conor isn't just a 12-round fighter, he's an old-school warrior who could go 15 rounds if needed. He even promises that the public is about to witness a side of Conor they haven't seen before, hinting at hidden levels of destruction. When a father speaks this way about his son, it's powerful, emotional, and fuels even greater anticipation. Nigel Benn isn't just hyping a fight, he's warning everyone that they're about to see the real Conor Benn unleashed.
All the way. And Conor's not a 12-round fighter. He's an old school fighter that can do 15 rounds. But you're going to see him, mate, the power that he's got. No one ain't seen him for the last 2 years. Oh my gosh. You lot are in for a treat. Mark my word. You are in for a big, big treat.
As the final moments tick down toward the fight, one thing is clear. This is no longer just a contest of skills. This is a deeply personal war. Conor Benn fights with fire, emotion, and the weight of family legacy on his shoulders. Chris Eubank Jr. fights with scars, loss, and a heart will forge through personal tragedy. Both men have stripped away the showmanship, the PR, and the pretense. What remains is raw hatred, respect twisted by rivalry, and a desperation to prove who truly belongs. Eubank Jr. wants to extinguish Benn's career to reclaim his pride and status. Benn wants to crush Eubank to honor his name and avenge the ghosts of the past. And when the bell rings, none of the talk will matter. Only fists, only heart, only history. If you can feel the electricity of this rivalry pulsing through the sport, slam that subscribe button right now and join the real fight fans here at Box Hub. Like this video, drop your war predictions in the comments and tell us, does Conor Benn's fire burn hotter, or will Chris Eubank Jr.'s scars make him too strong to break? This is not just a fight, this is a legacy war. And this is Box Hub, where true fight fans live. Stay tuned, stay sharp, stay savage.